Oh, my God.
We're back. Young Opie is in the restroom. Anthony is in. Travis is in. And, of course, Duff Mckagan is in the studio. Yeah, we're just coming back right now.
Duff.
You smell really good, by the way.
Do I?
Yeah, what kind of cologne is that?
It's Ode to Duff.
It's nice.
Yes.
It's just...
No, you know what?
Duff.
I'm going to say it. It's Gucci.
Is it Gucci?
Good
stuff.
I don't know what it is.
Duff smells rich. I like that smell.
It's called I Wrote a Bestseller.
I'm an author, a writist.
Yes, a writist.
A
That's the
writist.
smell of success, I think, Jim.
How many times
Why
have
it's
you...
new to you.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what does that smell? Oh, it's new money. Oh, I've never smelled that before. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, up early for you or what?
Well, it is early because West Coast time. It's like whatever. But I was up last night. The book came out yesterday. This is all new experience for me.
Huge.
It's just different. And I did a book event at the Strand bookstore last night, and David Frick we had a conversation, and they hired him or whatever to come, and we talked, and I just ended up asking him all the questions about how do you write, where do you write, what do you think of, how do you...
Who is he? He writes for Rolling Stone, right?
Since 1977, senior writer for Rolling Stone, and it was really quite an honor, and it was a sold-out thing, and then my book company took me to dinner, and anyhow, I didn't go to bed until 2 in the morning.
Do you think that feels a little odd? Like, okay, you wrote a book, and it's very good. Jimmy is fucking raving about it too. And like you write a book, and then you talk with an author, and you feel like, hey, now I could talk to this guy. Or do you kind of get a little modest, like, all right, look, let me slow down a little. I wrote a book, but
in reality, I really am modest about writing. I'm a practicing writer. I write 2 columns a week. So I always have a deadline. I'm always questioning whether I'm any good. I just turned in my ESPN column just came out minutes ago. So I was editing last night while my book's coming out.
Okay, so you write then
I don't know if I'm any good. I've been writing for 3 years.
Well, they haven't fired you. I guess you're all right.
That means you're good.
So far, so good.
They're just afraid of him. It's one of the two. Either you're very good or they're just afraid of you.
Right. And I don't know which one it is. And then last night, all of a sudden, I'm talking to this senior writer for the Rolling Stone as sort of they're putting us up there as I'm not an equal with him by any stretch, but we're talking.
But your guys are up there together, right? Yeah.
Whatever. So this is all a new experience, and I guess for me that's what life's about. Like, okay, what do you got? What's new? And meeting people last night who came to the book event. They're rockers for sure.
Sure, yeah.
But there's a different setting at it.
Well, because they have to be able to read. So you're getting
everybody's very polite, and you're talking about words now instead of that song that fucking you fucking dude that thing got me through this thing, and which is awesome.
Page 168 fucking rock. Fucking rock.
It's different.
Yeah.
Right.
I can understand that.
Can we get into the book a little bit? There's a picture here. And unfortunately, Duff, I got
Is
the
that
book.
what you go straight to this?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Why?
You know I'm a big Guns N' Roses fan.
Yeah.
You've been in them many times. I love GNR, okay? And I can't wait to read this book. I just fucking got the book 20 minutes ago. So the first thing I'm doing, is going to the pictures. And I got to read the caption. My brother Mark left for Vietnam when I was 3 years old. That's me bawling my head off with my mother and my brother, Matt beside me. This is one of my first memories ever.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And we all think about what is our first fucking memory. And yours is seeing your brother go to Vietnam?
Yes, and I didn't understand what war was and all of those things. And I remember asking my mom, and this is, you have those moments in your life. And I said, Mom, what is war? I was really worried about my brother. Little kid.
Sure.
And she said, well, 2 men don't agree on something. So then they send their young men from their country, and they go fight in a field over their disagreement over these. And I have not found a better explanation to this day.
That is very simple and to the point.
Who decided we have to send the young men? Why couldn't we just send old men from both sides
I'm
at the end of their lives?
Our president should be just kick-ass kickboxers.
Duke it out.
You
Take
guys
to the cage. Take to the cage.
We got to work and take care of our people, our families and stuff,
Now, I don't know the answer to this question, but did Matt come back okay?
Mark, yeah.
Mark, excuse me.
Yeah, right. Two of my brothers were there. So there's a bunch of us.
Right.
So, the draft was active then, and both of my brothers went and signed up because they didn't want to get drafted and be sent to some.
Right.
They got sent to the. Mark especially got sent to the crap anyhow. But they're back and they came back. Yeah.
I guess it was a lot easier to sign up. Yeah, some people said to sign up was better than to get drafted because you had a little bit more say in what you were going to do sometimes. But
with five boys in our family, they were for sure going to get drafted.
Right.
And I noticed a big age difference then because he has to be about 17 here, right?
There's 8 of us. I'm the youngest. My oldest brother is 20 years older than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Big span.
Wow.
You didn't get along too well with your dad growing up, right? Or you didn't seem like you were too thrilled with his performance.
Well, he was done raising kids at that point. He did
Maybe.
it for 20 years.
Yeah. And as a parent now, I wrote about that. Obviously, Jim, you read about that. And I guess I made it sort of public. And I didn't mean to throw my dad on the bus. And I think I bring him back into my life in the book,
right.
Which actually happened. But, yeah, the things that I think we all have those experiences as a kid. I never got beat up or molested by some weird uncle or any of that stuff. But I had this experience with my dad that I shouldn't have had when I was in 3rd grade. I caught him, in a situation with a neighbor's, wife and in 3rd grade, now, kids, it seemed my kids at that age, I'm like, oh, I saw it then.
You walked in on him and the neighbor's wife pretty much.
Right, yeah. So,
Jesus, that's pretty heavy duty.
Yeah.
So the only reason I brought it up is because how I realized that I protected my mom and I got kind of lying. I had to lie at a young age and
I put you in a pretty shitty position.
And I got panic attacks later on as a teenager, and I just thought it was because I did too much acid. I did.
Of course, sure.
You think, oh, God, I'm one of those guys you hear about, those hippies that have flashbacks, I'm one of those guys. And it turns out, whatever, we all have childhood things that happen. And I just kind of exposed mine a little bit, not the whole thing by any stretch, but how later on the panic attacks, and then I self-medicated those things, and how I became completely dependent on alcohol and drugs and this caustic, weird thing. And my band's huge, and I'm all of a sudden I'm strung out. I'm what? Nobody dreams of like being in this kick-ass band. You practice your instrument, you learn how to write songs, and the band matriculates up, and all of a sudden you're huge. You don't, in all of that thing, you don't ever dream of, and I want to be an alcoholic.
And I want to be all fucked up through all this great shit.
Do you wish you were sober when Guns N' Roses was at their peak? Would you have enjoyed it more, or was it kind of went with what was happening with you guys, where it was one big cool party?
Of course, I wish I was sober my whole life. And,
right.
I think if I was now and felt like I do now,
right.
Then the ride would have been completely different. I don't regret or resent how I went through life. I think, you have to believe that your life happened, everything in your life, all the steps happened for a reason. They get you to this point now. And what I learned from all of that is invaluable. Invaluable. So I know where all the left turns go into dark corners and how to go around those turns now, and so I don't have to worry about that part.
And Axl made it easy to party, right?
What's that now?
I said Axl made it easy to party because there was some frustration with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
It probably made it easier to deal with some of that stuff.
A lot of things played into it for sure. But yeah, I came away from writing this book of how much I loved that band and loved the brother.
Right.
Ship and the fellowship of that band, and it's a unique experience what the 5 of us went through and built that thing in our band. People liked our band, and at first it was a few, and then it was more, and it was more, and then this whole generation worldwide, and worldwide it's a big world out there, and you don't really realize it, and you're in some little town in South America, and some old lady comes up to you, and she's 90 years old, and grabs you by the cheeks, and I love your band.
Jesus.
Wow.
Gotta fuck her.
Really? Is that where you're going?
Oh, yeah, I have to.
I'm in this, like, eloquent thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, got it.
For the story, Duff. For the story. For the story.
Jesus.
For the story. Duff is tapping out.
It really is. It's so. There's not a boring page in the book. Honestly, it's
can't wait to read it.
Everything held my interest. Even the family stuff. And normally family stuff can kind of get like a little bit, but the way you kept it, you didn't go too far with it where it was uninteresting. It's every page. You want to keep reading. You want to keep reading. And you don't throw Axel under the bus, but you don't exonerate him either, which I liked a lot. I thought you were really fair. And there was, I found myself hating Axel reading this, and then all of a sudden he would do something compassionate, and you like him. And then he would, like, encourage you to do something in your sobriety, and you like him. Did he really come to you and Slash and want you to sign papers before you went on stage?
No. Okay, so I hope that part of the book is clear, that he actually, in that part of our career, I don't think there was any connection between our management and the band and all of that stuff. I do think people thought that Slash and I were going to die. Good chance of it.
Yeah. Shit. Really?
Yeah, there was a good chance, and I think there were some safeguards by that point. And the only point I was trying to make is our band had gotten so out of our control that we were like sat backstage with this. So part of me wished I didn't write about that. I wrote a bunch of words. I wrote probably twice as many words that are in the book, and then we started editing it down. Of course,
Yeah, off mic a little bit.
Yeah, and so there's parts of the book that, it is my truth, and it is my story, and I only wrote the parts that affected me that I could get to my mission statement of the book, which is, how did I get so bad, and how did I get better?
So that might have been managed, because there's a part where management comes, and I guess I forget what you guys were. There's a massive arena, and said, look, you're going to Axel wants you to sign these papers, which gives him the rights to the name Guns N' Roses in case you or Slash die.
In the book, I didn't say Axel, though.
You didn't say Axel? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Papers were presented to us, and it was just this.
Didn't you say Axel? They said Axel wouldn't go on if you didn't sign these.
That was how it was
presented.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's how disjointed the band was at that time, for sure. And
do you think that was more of a management thing than from him personally? That was maybe management trying to do something?
To this day, I don't really know. And I didn't really. That's a part of the band that I've thought about from time to time. I don't go back and think about, God damn it, I don't. I really exorcise those resentments and all of that stuff, and I think I live a happier life because I have. So I touched on certain points in that thing and the signing the papers, the name over, as how it affected me and how bad our band had kind of gotten and disjointed we were, and I suppose how bad I was health-wise, because if people think I'm going to die. We could have handled that differently. Like, let's pull the band off the road and get the band healthy. Maybe if I was the manager of that band now, if I saw that, I'd pull them off the road.
Yeah, but
I would have pulled them off the road.
That means the money isn't coming in, though.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
so I don't really speak highly of the man in the book. The management.
Right.
If it was now, I think maybe I wouldn't even put that band on the road in 1991. I would have okay, let's do some stuff to make our band last. Let's get ourselves in a great headspace and healthy maybe and all of those things. But you cannot go back and go, what if? Our band, that tour was vicious and often beautiful and brutal and all of those great things. And I talk to people all the time. I saw that show at the fill in the blank, and it changed my life. And that impacts me. Like, really, changed your life? And
well, you guys had a weird pressure too, because there was if they would start 3 hours late sometimes. and there would be a riot, and then all of a sudden you're backstage wondering, is somebody going to be killed because of this riot? So there's I think there's something that most rockers don't have to deal with was that fear that fans were going to be truly injured in a riot.
And you're going to be held liable for it.
Or just morally,
Just morally. It was more morally than money.
Yeah.
I was just,
see where my head is. Just sit there going, that'll cost you. Fuck the kid. I don't care.
You're suddenly faced with all these things. I was faced with all these things that I never, ever dreamed. How could you dream that you're going to be faced with, people getting hurt and, experience that when we played Donington for the first time and the crowd surged forward and because we went on stage. And they surged forward and there's mud and all of that, and 2 guys died.
Yeah.
Because we hit the stage. You imagine having to deal with that at 24 years old? Because people loved our band, they surged forward, 2 guys died.
Did you kind of rationalize it in your head like, hey, we were just doing our job. Did it really affect you?
I still haven't rationalized that.
Really?
No.
You almost feel a certain responsibility.
I did at that point.
Fucked up.
At that point, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, it was the first real gig that our band was just breaking and big.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam. You don't sit down and talk about these things beforehand. Well, if your band gets big, this and this and this can happen.
Someone can die, and that's fucked up.
But now, at Donington, because of that incident, there's these huge barriers, and it separates the crowd. I don't know if you've ever been over there to that festival, and all festivals now have those.
Yeah. It's the big barriers. It's almost like
barriers and all.
Yeah, to keep a crowd from being able to crush each other.
Yeah.
But
you were getting into. I'm starting to slouch in my head.
Oh, Jesus!
Death and darkness and dream.
Oh Christ! Is there a happy fucking moment in this book?
There is,
Jesus
but
Christ.
it's interesting to get into that headspace, though.
No, it's
very
really
interesting to read about.
It really is
because I could not put the book down, and it's not that you just want to read about bad stuff, but you never get to hear the perspective of the performer. You hear the stories,
right?
But you never get to hear the fact that, you wonder what was the rest of the band thinking. While chairs are being thrown and things, and you're in the back, wanting to vomit and having a panic attack, and it's like you forget that the band are people, and they're back there, feeling fucking horrendous about what's going on outside in the theater,
frustrated, and all of those things. And but I think I had to get 2 questions people ask me all the time: how much did you drink, and how much drugs you do? And I'll give out my number, a gallon and a buck, and maybe a couple 8 balls of this, and this many pills, and most people don't know how to take that in.
You can't even digest
that. Sounds like a lot.
What?
I don't even drink a gallon of water in a week, and so people don't. So I tried to write into that and get the reader into my headspace that sort of fall into insanity. And so I tried an experiment to unsettle the reader. So the book jumps back and forth a bunch in the first 150 pages. So by the time you land on where my headspace is at 27, you might be as confused as I am. It's not a confusing book to read, I don't think.
No, but that was just to jump in, because you read something and it's like, and then and Slash and I were doing this, and we had Steve Adler, and then all of a sudden it's like, so then and then the next chapter starts with my band in Seattle, and it's like you do feel like you're jumping, but it doesn't take. It's pretty easy to follow, but it does feel like it's a random thought, which I kind of liked.
So all of a sudden, when I'm in the throes of my deal, my point was to try to get you there in your headspace. And then my sort of rise out of that thing and how I got better. I think it's a little lighter because it gets dark.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, and that's really what my life was. I came out of this thing at 30 years old, and
well, you were forced to get better, really, right? Because the pancreas thing.
Yeah, it was.
You had no choice. If you wanted to live, the doctor said you can't drink anymore. Physically, you will die sooner than later.
Used up
so
all
you were
your
kind of
drinking
forced
privileges.
to at that point. Were you ready to get sober at that point?
Yeah. So I was in the hospital, and it was dire, and I'm in the hospital. I got tubes in my arms, and how did I get here? I'm still that in my head. You're still that 14-year-old kid, you know, like rock, and I just saw the Ramones, and life is amazing. I'm in a hospital with tubes in my eyes.
Because of drinking and drugs, I'm here.
How
wow.
did I get here? And then, so my mom, the 8 of us kids, I'm the youngest. She had Parkinson's at the time. She had, you know, in a wheelchair, coming in to take care of her youngest son.
Wow.
And right then and there, I said, the order of things is wrong. I should be taking care of her. You know, you're a fuck up. You're an asshole. You're all of these things. And I beat myself up in that bed, and I think I had to, and I rose up, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I've had this chance, this Librium in my arm. I went through the DTs of alcohol withdrawal gently because of the Librium with a button. You know, anybody's been in the hospital, you see that you have the buttons.
So those buttons work. I always wonder.
And the morphine and
Was it
in
like
the
the
arm.
green cross the street button?
Yeah.
This thing don't work.
Thing work.
Shit.
So that was my turning point, and
you never looked back.
I didn't. You know, I talked in the book. I had a couple stumbles, and I've had a few times where I thought I was bulletproof because, like, yes, I'm better. You know, yeah, I don't know if you ever get better. I have to be, you know, vigilant about my life and my deal, and so yeah, I wrote a book, and there it is. I see it sitting on the thing, and
I can't wait to read
It's
this
fucking great. And there's something you said that was so perceptive. There's a lot of, I know they say Duff has to go in like 2 minutes, but there's extremely insightful things. And one of them, you said, the way I like to define myself diverged from the actions that actually defined me. And this disconnect proved a nearly fatal level of self-deception. I was like, what a fucking amazing way to look at self-deception. Like, the way I see myself, well, the facts are just different. It's not who I actually am.
Right.
And that self-deception is going to get you killed.
It can. Yeah, and I had all these little epiphanies. Oh, wait, I think I could convince myself because everybody's like, Duff from Guns N' Roses. All right, you hear that all the time. All right, I'm Duff from Guns N' Roses. You're not Duff Mckagan, or you know what I mean? You're Oh, you're Duff, the punk rock guy. You're the punk element of the band. Or it's King of Bears, yeah. And you hear it enough times, like, yeah, I'm fucking Duff from Guns N' Roses, man.
But you're just Duff Mckagan. And
you're not, and you're
still the kid with all the fucking...
A dopey dude who's like, you know, can play guitar, knows how to, you know, like be part of a good band. I know how to be a good team member and all those things.
Sure.
And but I think I'm just this dorky guy who I like to work hard.
Yeah.
That's it. And I like people, and I want to have a family, and maybe I don't know if I can do that. I'm probably too much of a dork to ever meet a woman again. You know, all these sober thoughts, like I didn't know how to talk to a woman, like all this stuff.
It's so weird to hear.
Unless you're like Duff from Guns N' Roses. You can,
I had, like when I was in the throes of drinking and stuff, I was like, you girl, come with me, let's go. But I couldn't. I didn't know how to do that.
You're
anymore.
a caveman.
Yeah. You now, wait, limo, hotel, go.
It sounds great because a lot of bands or guys in bands that write books, it is usually that just surface, yay, and then we fucking hit the rock scene. It was fucking great. But I mean, really getting into who you are and your whole journey through this thing, the band, and then sobriety and family and things like that.
Yeah.
That's something you don't really get in a book by a rock and roller, a real rock and roller.
Well, you nailed it with the title too. It's so easy in other lies. That's perfect, right?
Yeah.
It's a perfect title.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It really is.
Stumbled upon that one.
Really?
That's a good stumble.
Oh, you get it? Like, stumble. Do you guys got any good jokes?
No.
Oh, fuck no.
None
I can tell
We're
here.
below mediocre as a program.
None I can tell here, but...
Oh, you can't tell them on here.
Well, no, we
likes
can
a certain
curse on
type
here,
of
but I like jokes that get, I don't know, maybe...
off color?
Yeah,
little bit.
I like the
Slightly
off-color
off-color.
joke. As long as I haven't heard them 1,000 times, or told them 1,000 times. But as far as jokes go, I don't know. Jimmy, you got a joke?
I don't really do like joke. Like you've seen me. It's like I'm not good at that type of a. Whenever they ask me to do a bit or something, I always feel like I fucking have never written a joke in my life. Like, do you have anything funny? I'm like, no.
I got a joke. One of our producers, E-Rock.
Poor guy.
He's a fucking joke.
That's more of a sick tragedy.
Wow. Yeah, that was a little tough. Wow. That was a little bad.
Duff, I got to ask, you write about Kurt in the book?
I touched on it.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I touched on it because there was all these sort of things with Nirvana, and a lot of it was just lore and built up by the press. And in reality, I kind of talked about it because Novoselic, Christ, he and I became colleagues in 2008 at the Seattle Weekly. He wrote a political column. He's a really smart guy and very active politically.
Sure.
And he's written this column for the Weekly for a long time. So and he and I started discussing things, and I saw Kurt Cobain on a plane, flying back to Seattle. He and I sat next to each other a few days before he passed.
Wow.
Were there any signs?
Pardon?
Any signs? Probably a hack question, but I mean,
I kind of wrote about. We were two guys who were pretty messed up and on a plane, and he was running from this thing, and and got out of the plane in Seattle, and he's from this big band, and I'm from this big band, and everybody sort of just stopped.
Yeah, it must have been like, what the fuck?
And so, and you're kind of conditioned to that at that point, and we kind of just both went to baggage claim, and okay, and then left, but we talked on the plane, and we were kind of two fellow passengers in that wet cardboard box you can't quite punch your way out of. Mm-hmm. It's not a great place to be all addicted and all that stuff. In my experience, kids listening, don't do it. I did the research for you. It sucks.
They're telling us stuff has to go because you have TV. I'm like, we don't want to boot you, believe me.
But the up. I want to end on an up. So, I never called Chris and Dave and all these things I like later on. I should have called them and said I'm sorry for your loss, and I didn't reach out, and I was too confused and fucked up myself, and Novoselic and I became these. We're pretty good friends now, and we've talked about a lot of things, and I don't know what the point I was getting at.
It's just an odd turn of events too, that like you guys writing and
he's so good, man.
Yeah,
that dude is. Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't do much press or anything. He just writes.
Yeah.
But if you ever get a chance to get him on the show, I think he has a new bass. Like first time ever, he goes, "I have a new Gibson bass, an RD. They gave me my signature model." He goes, "I'm not even playing a band anymore. This is the best." Yeah, and he's so excited about this new bass that like a kid. Like, can you believe it? It's got my name on it, and it's really it's almost kind of cute, Like, and he's such a great bass player. His bass lines will live in infamy, and great guy. And if you ever get a chance to get him on your show, you'll be fascinated by his life.
Yeah, we'll get him on.
It's amazing.
I got to plug. I want to plug before Duff because he has TV Countdown. I want to plug his book signings. The book's amazing. I think we've told you that. It's tonight. We'll be at Bookends. Some of you have gone there. You've seen me there. It's in Ridgewood, New Jersey. It's a nice independent store. It's huge. There's plenty of room. That's 7 p.m. It's 211 East Ridgewood Avenue. And then tomorrow in Long Island. If you don't have to cross Manhattan to get to Duff tonight, you can wait till tomorrow. He'll be at Book Review. It's 7 p.m., 313 New York Avenue in Huntington.
Yeah.
My hometown.
His hometown.
You want a free meal?
Go Huntington.
F.H. Riley's. Stop by. My brother will take care of you.
What's the high school? What's their...
we got Huntington High School, Harbor Fields.
What's their mascot?
Harbor Fields was the Tornadoes.
Yeah, go Tornadoes. Tornadoes.
That was my high school, which is close to Huntington, Tornadoes. I should say.
And Kane is hosting, by the way, a conversation tomorrow night in Long Island. Yes, and Duff's signing, obviously, and it's just a great book. I can't say enough about it. It's very, very insightful.
Thanks,
I very rarely enjoy a biography this much. There's not a boring page in the fucking book.
Very cool.
I will read this one, Duff.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's so easy. And Other Lies from Duff Mckagan.
You guys are awesome. Thanks.
Cool.
Okay.
Next time you're in New York, you know what? We don't talk music. We'll talk sports and other shit.
Sports, yes.
We'll do something completely different with
cash.
you. And cash. Enough of this Guns N' Roses thing.
We could go for a while.
Yeah, I bet we could.
Enough of this dumb Guns N' Roses thing. We're going to get into sports.
I want to leave it at this. Writing this book made me really appreciate the bands and the friends and Slash and Axl and Izzy and Steven and Matt and Dave Kushner and Weiland, all these guys that I've gone through this journey of, and my band Loaded, all these great players and guys I've traveled the world with and learned a lot from, and God damn it, yeah, created some great music too.
Yeah.
Amazing chemistries and all this stuff. So that's it. I'll leave it on.
Right on.
Yes.
Thank you,
Mckagan.
Duff. Duff Mckagan.
Thanks, man.